One of the most iconic Mexican breakfasts is barbacoa, and it's actually a lot simpler to make than people think it is. And in this video, I am gonna teach you how to make a low and slow barbacoa that is going to have the entire family talking. All right, so barbacoa, it can be made out of a couple of different meats. Some people use chuck, some people use cachete, other people use lengua. And today in this video, I am gonna teach you how to make it out of cachete. And so back then, they used to put it in a pot, in a hole back, and they used to just cook overnight. But it's gotten a lot more simpler nowadays with this slow cooker. And so this is the method we are going to use to cook this barbacoa overnight. For this recipe, we're gonna use half an onion, 2 cloves of garlic, a bay leaf, onion and garlic powder, a blend of salt and pepper, wow seasoning, and we can't forget the cachete. So I already unpackaged our cachete, and when I said this recipe is gonna be easy, I mean, it is gonna be really, really easy. One thing I'm a really big fan of is trimming meat, but in this case, we don't wanna trim too much meat. We just wanna get rid of some of that excess fat that's on here. This is a very, very fatty cut of meat, and so a lot of this fat, what happens is it just doesn't end up rendering out. So like, you see this piece here? This piece is just complete fat. There's no meat on this, and so we're just gonna cut this off and just get rid of it, right? Because this isn't gonna render. It's gonna do us no good. And part of the barbacoa is the fat. It's the grease, everything that the meat's living in, that it's cooking in, that makes it so good. But in situations like this is just not going to render out. And I mean, that is pretty much it. I just want to just clean up the meat, you know, take out some of this fat. Look at this little piece of fat right there. You know, we're just cleaning it up. That's all we're doing. And that's pretty darn good. Right there, that's good. Looks great. So this meat is looking nice and good. And so the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna season it. And the first thing we're gonna hit it with is our salt and pepper blend. So we're just gonna go ahead and we will season this meat. Hit it with our salt and pepper just like that. We don't need to get too crazy with it. We don't want it to get too salty. We don't want it to be too peppery. This is just to help bring out the flavors. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna hit it with our garlic powder. And again, this is just to give it just a little bit of flavor. We don't want to get too crazy with it. This meat already, the fat and everything in this meat is already jam-packed with flavor. So we don't need to get too crazy with it. Next thing we're going to do is hit it with our onion powder, just like so. All right, so next thing we're going to hit it with is with our wow. Again, we can't cook anything without it. So we're just going to go ahead and just season it with some wow. And we should be good to go. So we're done seasoning our meat. This is perfect. We don't need anything more. We don't need anything less. So real quick, I'm gonna go ahead and wash my hands, and then we're gonna get this thrown into the crock pot. So what we are going to do now is we're gonna grab our cachete and we're gonna go ahead and just drop it into the crock pot. Remember, it is nice, it's seasoned, it's ready to go. We're gonna add our onions in here, just like so. And that actually might be good on the onions. We're gonna add our 2 garlics and our bay leaf. We are going to close it up and we are going to cook it on low, and we're gonna cook it overnight. It's gonna take about 8 hours on low overnight to cook. So you can go ahead, get to bed, wake up in the morning, you know, you can shower, get everything going, and this will be ready to go. So we're gonna let it cook overnight and we will be back in the morning to check on it. Right now, the barbacoa has been cooking for a little over 9 hours, and so now the meat is ready. It's time to open up the crock pot and take a look at the meat. Ooh, it smells good. That smells real good. Oh my God, it's so tender. It's falling apart in the crock pot. Let me get this out. Now, one thing I am going to suggest is, not shredding it all at one time. Shred it as you're going to serve it. The reason why we're going to do that is because if not, the meat is going to dry out, and by the time you serve it, it's going to be dried, and so that's what we want to avoid. So, we'll pull it out, and as we are serving it, we are going to shred it. And I mean, look at that. It is just coming apart. Man, if you could smell what my house smells like right now. We woke up this morning, it smelled delicious in here. Look at that barbacoa. Remember I told you there was plenty of fat? Look at that fat in there. So this fat, we're just going to go ahead. We're going to just pull it out, so we get some really nice bites out of this. Just like that. And next thing we are going to do is we are going to put it on our tortillas. And so I like to eat my barbacoa the OG way with some corn tortillas. But Brittany, my wife, she likes to eat it on some flour tortillas. So I got both here. I got some corn. I got some flour tortillas. And so just like this, we're going to grab our meat. We'll put our meat just on it, just like that. Right? I like some cilantro on mine. Can't forget the salsa. Just like that. And then we got Brittany's right here. Just like that. Look at that. Look at that barbacoa. And she doesn't like cilantro, but she does like some lemon. So I cut up some lemon for her, just like that. Put some lemon, and she's also a pretty big fan of some salsa there. And so now it is time for the absolute best part of the reason why we cook right, the taste test. And so here we go. Look at that. Doesn't that look fantastic? So we're going to go ahead. We're going to give our barbacoa a try. Let's see. Good stuff right here. Just give me a second because we have to finish what we started, right? Good stuff, babe. Why don't you come try to taste yours? How was that? Delicious, delicious. And so if the wife says it's delicious, we know it is delicious. And I hope you enjoyed this super simple, easy crock pot recipe for some barbacoa. It doesn't take much. You can send the crock pot overnight, wake up in the morning, it is good to go. And I'll tell you one thing, try this recipe. I promise you, you will be the talk of the party.